welcome to this month's podcast. We're interviewing our second lieutenant Rotte. So we will have our 20 questions here, and if you're ready, we'll get started here.
Oh, I am ready. Let's do this.
I will start simple and easy. Who are you and where are you from?
My name is RT Rohde, and I am from. Well, it's a really difficult question. I've lived in 16 different places in 32 years, but I consider my home state to be Alaska. I did high school there.
That's a crazy amount of places to be moving around, but I guess military life does that to you.
Yep, born in the military, still in the military.
Easy intro into number two. What do you do for a living?
I am an officer in the United States Army Infantry, and I've been in the Army for about 9 years now.
This could be a good one for the military part of you. Give me three words that best describe you.
Ooh, that's a good one. Three words that best describe me. I would say diligent, humorous, and selfless.
I would
Yep.
have to agree with all those just from the short time I've known you.
You have to cut out the and. The and doesn't count, right? That doesn't take up one of my words.
No, you're good. All right, so this is a two-parter for military and civilian. What are you most proud of in life between both of them?
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so civilian, I would have to say my marriage. I am a very lucky man. I definitely married up when it comes to my wife. I don't know why she chose me, but I'm a lucky man, and she's chosen to stay with me for the last 8 years. So I just got to keep working on that. And then as far as military thing I'm most proud of, my year that I spent in command of a infantry company that was about 130 people at like its peak, and just the stuff we got to do with that and being able to make what I assume were mostly positive impacts on all those soldiers' lives was awesome.
So, handling 40 people in a Dodds realism community is not so hard then.
I mean, I don't own the lives of people in this group. It's all of us just being friends and trying to have fun in a pseudo military like organization. Whereas I'm a company commander, I literally can kick people out of the army if they suck. So a little bit different of like influential power and whatnot.
All right, number five. Do you have a favorite quote in life that you like to look back on or use for teaching?
Yeah, I do. Do you want me to actually say it?
Yes, please.
So my favorite quote is Robert Frost's poem, in which the last part is two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
Oh, I like that. I've heard that one before. I like it too.
Yeah, I try to not always follow the path. Sometimes it's easier, but I enjoy trying new things.
All right, number six. Another two-parter. Your favorite foods, civilian and military. And when I say military, it's kind of like the MREs, right? Is that what they're called?
That is, you're very good, by the way, at turning 20 questions into 40.
Yeah, there's a few more that are going to be split like this. So yeah, there'll be a few more, but yeah. So
That's all
favorite
good.
food, civilian, and then army food that you've had to eat.
My two favorite foods in life are steak and bacon, and I actually make s- sirloin wrapped or bacon wrapped steak sirloins, and I've made those a couple of times, and they are delicious. So that's like one of my that is like my favorite thing to make. It's a like special event type thing because it takes a little bit of work. So that's my favorite civilian food, and then as far as military food, I'm gonna give you a two-part answer to go with your two-part question. In the field, when it comes to MREs, I actually really enjoy meatball and spaghetti one because you can eat it cold or hot, and I've had to eat way too many of them cold. Just with different things I've had to eat where I had to eat them in like 7 minutes or less. And then when it comes to military food prepared not in the field in a bag, uh, the military actually does really well, or at least the army does, at making really good Thanksgiving dinners. There's um, literally every year, commanders serve Thanksgiving dinner to their soldiers, and I got to actually do that when I was a commander, and the food is usually delicious. It's like the one time a year where they put a ton of time into the food, and it's awesome.
If there was a zombie apocalypse tomorrow, what is the first thing you would do?
So for me, I have to go bags. I have my weapons, and I have kind of a plan. So my wife, my kids, and I would all head to Alaska, get a boat, and be mostly living in Alaska or in a boat with the winter freezing them in place, and then during the summer we could push out into the water and be above them, so that in their water they just can't get to us because zombies can't swim. They can walk on the bottom of the ocean, but that's too easy. Just avoid them.
Wait, I like that you have to-go bags. That's awesome. Both you guys actually have that already. That's just like that's like America right there.
Yeah, Texas in the military. You're talking to the first two people probably that will have to go bags. I got
Yeah.
ammo. I got a pistol for me and my wife, and a rifle for me and my wife. We're good.
Number 8, is there something that none of us know about you yet that you've been waiting to tell us, or something you enjoy that we haven't really been able to bring up before?
So I don't know if I've talked about this with anyone, but it's like one of my conversation starters is I have been to 28 out of 30 professional baseball stadiums and seen a home game there. And
That is awesome. I'm very jealous of that already.
yep, I have a baseball cap literally 10 feet from me that's on display. I have a pin in that cap from every single stadium. So I'm actually going to go to Texas this summer to see a game in the Astros Stadium. That'll be number 29. And then the last game left will be in Kansas City, which I've actually seen a game in when I was a kid, but this 30 stadium rotation started after I graduated college. So I did two major road trips, one with 19 games and another with nine. And then I've like done onesie twosies here and there.
That's awesome that you're able to do that. That's I think that's a lot of guys' dreams that are into sports to be able to do that, see a game in every stadium. Do you have a favorite so far that you've been to?
I'm a huge Reds fan, so like Great American Ballpark will always be probably my favorite stadium. But the two I mentioned before, Wrigley and Fenway Park. I actually went to Fenway Park. I've got on the front on its 100-year anniversary.
Nice.
So I had my pin actually says 100 years, and that and Wrigley, like I sat in them and felt like I was in history. Like I could be watching like Babe Ruth swinging a bat and still be in like the same seats.
Number 9, what is your favorite joke to tell?
Okay, I had this one on standby constantly. If someone's like, "Hey, tell me a joke," I got this. Okay, so there's a man. He suspects his wife is having an affair, but he's never been able to prove it. So he goes to work one day. He decides he's gonna come home over lunch just to check it out because he never does that. Goes to his apartment. He's on the 20th floor of this skyrise in a major city. Gets to his front door, opens the door. Sure enough, there's like shoes and a coat on the coat rack. He's like, ah, those aren't mine. I know it. I know he's in here. I know she's cheating on me. So he runs to the bedroom, throws open the door. His wife is in bed with the sheets all strewn. She's barely clothed and he's pissed. He's like, where is he? Where's this guy? And she's like, there's no one here. I don't know what you're talking about. There's no guy here. And he's like, I know you're lying to me. So he starts just running around the apartment looking for this guy, tearing open closets, looking for all like everywhere this guy could be. He can't find him. And he's like standing in his little main room, like huffing and puffing, being like, "Where is this guy? I know he's here." And he looks out and he has a balcony. And on the balcony, he sees two sets of three fingertips. He's like, "That's him. He's on the balcony. He's hanging off trying to avoid me." So he just runs over and he stomps on this dude's fingers. And he looks down and he watches this body tumble down and it falls 20 stories and lands in a tree. And he's like looking at the guy. He's like, "Yeah, screw you. That's what you get for screwing my wife." And then he looks down and the guy's still moving. He's like, "No, no, no, no. Screw that. I'm finishing the job." So he goes to the kitchen. He's got all this adrenaline going. He grabs the refrigerator, picks it up, goes and throws it over the balcony down into the tree. But as he's doing it, his heart gives out. He overexerts himself and he dies. Next thing he knows, he's looking around. He's at the pearly gates. And St. Peter's like, "Hey, welcome to heaven. We're kind of getting full up here, so we're instituting a new law. You have to explain how you died, and if you lived a good enough life and your death was like worthy enough, we'll let you in." So he explains the whole story, and St. Peter's like sitting there like, "Oh man, that's a pretty crap story. Yeah, that sucks for you, man. Come on in." As soon as he walks through the gates, another guy puffs in. And he's in like workout clothes, and he's like looking around, like what, confused. And St. Peter explains the same thing. And the guy's like, I don't know what just happened. So I live in this apartment building on the 19th floor, and I was just doing my workout routine. And what I do is the guys, people above me, I use their balcony and I do pull-ups on it. And this jerk just starts screaming and steps on my fingers, and I start falling down to this tree. Somehow I lived. I'm laying in the tree and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm ever gonna walk it. I think my back's broken. I look up and sure enough, I suddenly see over the balcony comes a refrigerator, and that's the last thing I remember. And the St. Peter's like, "Ooh, that's He starts trying not to laugh. He's like, "Oh no, that's I understand. Come on in." He's like, "Man, that's pretty crappy." And as soon as he goes in, the third guy appears, and he's like, he explains the same thing to him. The guy's in just his underwear. And he's like, "So what's your story?" He's like, "Uh, just imagine this. I'm naked in a refrigerator falling."
How about another joke, Murray?
No, I think we've had enough of your jokes.
What do you get?
I don't think so.
All right,
Truly,
next one. If you had to pick up and move to a different country, where would you go and why?
Japan. I would go to Japan. I actually got to go to Japan for a week for work and meet a bunch of people in the military and spend a week like hanging out in Tokyo, which was cool. And I've always been interested in the country. I watch anime. I read manga. Like I've got my own interest in the country already from that, but just the culture of like the whole over the individual, putting others before yourself. They're very clean culture. The city's very nice, very safe.
第1回ガキの使い合いで月々奇跡の魔術師まとめた人に水中大水
If you had a celebrity BFF, who would it be?
Ooh, I think my celebrity BFF would have to be Ryan Reynolds. Like he seems it. Ooh, it'd be a toss up between him and Paul Rudd.
All right, if there was a video compilation of your life, what song would be used as a soundtrack to it?
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
What's the biggest lie you have ever told?
Oh man, the one that comes to mind. Actually, I had thought this question would come up after I saw your interview with Lanier. Was my first date with my wife was kind of a lie.
So you're in the military. Is it a family tradition that you're following in? And if so, how far does it go back for your family?
It is. So my grandfather served in World War II as an started as a cook and then became an infantryman. He actually landed on the D-Day beaches the day after D-Day, and then was in Europe for a while, and then transferred over to the Pacific Theater for a bit. And then after that, he got out of the military, went to college, became an officer, and then he actually fought in the Korean War as well. He actually ended up getting sent in the when we buried him in the 2000s. We found a letter from the government giving him his special forces tab and saying like all the stuff he had done in Korea was now open source and he could wear a, a special forces tab. So he did some cool stuff like moving people behind enemy lines in Korea, moving like intel people back and forth. and then he ended up becoming just an infantry company commander in Korea. And then my dad was a helicopter pilot in the army for like 20 plus years.
That's awesome. That's cool to have the history of the family like that. So, um, number 15. In your 13 or 14 years, have you ever had to spend the night in the brig, and what for?
Nah, man, I'm boring. Like I've never had to.
Um, is there any misinformation of the military that annoys you that you want to set straight? So something that you hear people say that's just always wrong. Doesn't have to be like something negative they say, but something you always hear people say about the army or the military that's just is wrong and that you can set straight for people. Is there one movie that did it right that you enjoy watching?
I mean, if you ever watch the movie Act of Valor, that is a movie that actually has like deals in it, and they do everything in there pretty realistic. Like honestly, the Band of Brothers series is pretty accurate to how the military worked in World War II. They kept that pretty real.
Has there been a useless talent you've been able to gain from your time in the military or maybe just in civilian life? So
I don't know that other people can't, but useless talents that the military has taught me, being able to change between uniforms in like 5 minutes, being able to eat an entire MRE in 7 minutes, um, being able to memorize ridiculously unimportant things just to be asked them later for no real reason.
right, number 18, who is do you have a military hero of yours? It could be family or somebody else, or maybe just a hero civilian wise.
So like the easy answer for me is like my dad. I've just looked up to him my whole life. He's been uh, just a really good person, a good father, good officer. So like I've always looked up to him. As far as other people outside my family, um, David Goggins, uh, and he's ridiculous. If you read his story,
Cool. All right, so this is, I guess, more of a bigger question here. So you were away from us for a week here doing something um, called Sandhurst. So I was wondering if you could maybe go into a bit of detail on that for some of the guys, what it entailed, and
yeah, for sure. So Sandhurst, or the Sandhurst International Military Competition, is run out of West Point every year, and it's involves cadets, future officers from militaries, both U.S. Army and foreign militaries, and also ROTC plus different service academies. So, like Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard came this year. And the whole point is it's basically a 2 day long military skills competition. So, it involves shooting weapons, disassembling them and reassembling them, being able to treat casualties, being able to call up radios, being able to um, direct incoming artillery, stuff like that. And these teams are all given months, and they all compete against each other to win this thing called the Reginald E. Johnson Saber, which is named after a cadet who was the class of 1980 for West Point and actually died during the land nav training of Sandhurst his senior year, about 2 weeks before he was supposed to graduate.
yeah, from the videos that you showed me and Garza, there was really cool to see the awards, and then looking at some of the stuff, it looked really, really cool. So, and you mentioned it's going to be on TV next year, right? Or
CBS
trying
bought,
to.
yeah, CBS bought the rights for it for 5 years. So next year you'll get to watch it on CBS, and maybe you'll see me interview on an even bigger stage.
Okay, last question. Which fictional military leader would you say you resemble the most? Not just looks, but like how you carry yourself and everything. So you got options such as Tom Hanks as Captain Miller in Saving Private Ryan, um, Gunnery Sergeant Hartman in Platoon, maybe Colonel Potter or Frank Burns from MASH, or if you're really terrible, maybe someone like Colonel Klink. So who do you think you would be most recognizable as?
Yeah, so the two that come to mind that I think one have influenced me and two I think I resemble are either Ender Wiggins from the Ender's Game series or the main character from Starship Troopers, the book, not the movies. The movies is great, Rico's Roughnecks, but Rico from the actual book, if you read it, those two books, I think I relatively somewhat resemble those two people. If you take them for the movies are both awful representations of the book, so don't do that.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me for this. It was very informational, and yeah, thanks for taking the time out to do this with us.
No problem. I enjoyed it. It was a good time. Glad you enjoyed my jokes.
All right, and we will see you guys next month with the next interview. Take care.
Hey, I fixed it.
All right, Linear, get out here. Well, cut this part out, Fox.
How long was that to get this working? Was that a good 15 minutes trying to get this shit started?
We'll just get Fox to edit out the silence here.
Yeah. Oh, great. Rhodey's just sitting here looking up things on the internet so he doesn't sound like an idiot. I love it. It's a great way to start 15 minutes late just because a robot couldn't do its job.
I'll blame Burke. We'll yell at him. We'll demote him later. It's fine.
Makes sense. I mean, they're only as dumb as the people who program them, right?